Well, Sky is a company that was formed 2 or 3 years ago to acquire a nickel property from Inco. So we acquired a nickel laterite property that Inco had in Guatemala, and we're taking it forward towards the development stage. The beauty of this property is it's a large property, it's world-class property, it's previously been in production, and we're using conventional technology to recover nickel. And of course, at the moment, nickel is a wonderful metal to be in. So Sky is very well positioned for the future.
How do you see the world demand for nickel?
Nickel demand is very, very strong. Nickel is a very useful metal. Its primary use is in stainless steel. So when a country industrializes, its nickel consumption per capita increases rapidly. So what we're seeing in China at the moment is just really the beginning of increasing demand for nickel from China. We'd expect to see that followed up by growing demand in India. So nickel demand is very, very strong, and for a number of years nickel supply has been constrained. Nickel is a fairly difficult metal to produce and requires a lot of capital, and there are only a limited number of nickel producers in the world. So nickel capacity has been limited in the past, and with strong demand we're now seeing very high nickel prices. The average nickel price historically has probably been about $5 a pound in 2006 dollars. Today you're seeing nickel prices at $14 a pound. So you can imagine that with a good nickel property at these prices you could be incredibly profitable.
What are the results of the feasibility study you just finished?
The feasibility study basically confirmed what we already knew about this property, that it's a top quality property. The numbers were that it'll cost us about $750 million to build the nickel plant. The operating cost for the first 20 years will be about $1.87 a pound.
Are you a takeover candidate?
Certainly the market is speculating that. We have two large shareholders. Inco, from whom we bought the property, owns about 12.5% of Sky. We gave them some shares originally, and then they bought more shares in the market and in our financings. And BHP recently announced that they'd acquired 16.5% of Sky. So what we have there is two of the world's major nickel companies as our large shareholders. Following BHP's purchase, we put in place what we call a poison pill to prevent other people or Billiton going over the 20% shareholding limit and thereby effectively having a creeping takeover.
How are you different or even better than your peers in the industry?
I think we've demonstrated the ability as a management team to move this project forward very, very quickly. We've brought what we'll call a senior company mentality to the project, so we've had very, very high standards. But because we've got a small team, we don't have a large bureaucracy, we've been able to move very quickly. We acquired this property at the end of 2004, and here we are before the end of 2006, having completed a number of engineering studies and have got a feasibility study complete and ready to go for financing.
What's working in Guatemala like? What are your relations to the government and to the people?
It's got a good business environment. The government is supportive of our project. As much as anything, they recognize they've got a large world quality nickel laterite resource sitting in the country that will and can be developed for the benefit of the country. So they want us to move quickly, they want us to develop it. They are now completing the environmental reviews, which they're doing to a very high standard.
Your management team is very experienced.
If you add up the years, we've probably got 250 years of mining experience, I think, between us all. And we're thrilled to be in the mining industry in these very buoyant times for mining.